Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Sabrina with the blog Held Fast Home, and today we're following along with a few of my spring homemaking tasks, starting with laundry stripping and continuing with garden harvests and preservation. Let's first begin this video with a massive flop. I've pressure canned dry beans before on this channel, but for some reason, this time trying to can these dry pinto beans totally failed. Both times I tried to process this batch, my canner never reached pressure, which I'm really puzzled about. And while I was very disappointed, it turned out being just fine because I took on this project a few days before church potluck. So I just made a big crock pot of baked beans with these jars to bring to that meal. Here is a quick glimpse of my weekly homemaking tasks that you've seen me do frequently, so I'm not going into much detail here, but we have 3 quarts of yogurt, roasted peanuts for peanut butter, and some freshly milled sourdough bread dough bulk fermenting. If you're interested in incorporating freshly milled flour into your sourdough routine, then click the link to the video in the corner. A spring cleaning task I've recently fixated on, which I'd never done before, is deep cleaning our bedding and towels. I wish I could say I was joking when I admit I thought you just had to throw sheets and towels away when they stopped being thoroughly cleaned by the washer. I've literally thrown away sheets because I thought there was no hope for them to ever be clean again. And now I'm kicking myself since this laundry stripping works. To clean out the trapped dirt and oils within your towels and bedding, start by dissolving a washing booster mixture in piping hot water. This mixture consists of 1 part borax, 1 part washing soda, and 2 parts of your basic laundry detergent. I used a ½ cup of borax and washing soda and 1 cup of detergent. Once that mixture is dissolved in the water, add in your items. These cream sheets we have here are 6 years old, and it's their first time being stripped, so I'm hoping they get a new lease on life here. As I add in the rest of our items, you can see the water already clouding up with the trapped dirt and oil, and this is with no soaking time yet. Make sure all of the items are completely submerged. I let these sheets soak for 2 hours in the bathtub. Then I drained the disgusting water and added in more hot water for another 2-hour soak. I did not add any more washing booster mix to this soak. You can see the water is much cleaner the second time around. After the second soak, transfer the sheets to your washer and run them through a regular washing cycle using your standard detergent. Then I hung dry the bedding, which I love to line dry because you get the most delicious outdoorsy scent, and the sun will further lighten any other discoloration left on the sheets. Spring is the perfect time for this deep cleaning task since the garden isn't requiring too much upkeep in harvests and preservation, and those days are finally getting warmer and sunnier to line dry your clothes. This past week, I've stripped the last of our most used bedding, including our summer and winter comforters. I now only have 2 guest quilts to deep clean before summer comes. A quick note on our hang dry line, we have a rotatable umbrella laundry line that is also removable. This works best for the size of our yard, especially since this is the side our kiddos play on. It's another day and we are tackling some garden maintenance, starting with pruning our tomato plants. This pruning technique is really basic and requires less than 5 minutes to carry out with my 18 tomato plants. I like to train my tomato plants to 1 leader stem up on a trellis system. We use a cattle panel T-post system that will need to be installed soon, but today I'm overlooking each tomato plant and trimming off leaves and suckers that would come in contact with the ground from rain or watering. You can see here on this leaf how it's not in the best shape from spending most of its life resting on the soil. This pruning method will help prevent disease, provide airflow, and eventually I'll be able to use the area beneath these pruned tomatoes as an understory for smaller plants and crops once our tomatoes have grown taller. I tend to leave the leaves and branches I've pruned off on the ground as a kind of mulch unless there is obvious disease. Then I'm moving on to cutting off the scapes from our hardneck garlic that we planted last fall. Here is what the scapes look like. That little bump would become a flower head if we let it mature, but since we're growing this garlic for its bulb, we want to direct as much energy into bulb development instead of flower formation. However, I am curious to see the kind of flowers they produce and if I can save seeds. So I left 3 or 4 scapes to fully mature. Once the scapes have curled back on themselves, that's when they're ready for pruning. To preserve these scapes, I'm fermenting them in a saltwater solution. Last year, I made a pesto with them, and here's that video if you're interested in checking it out. To prep these scapes, all I've done is remove the flower head and any tougher parts at the base of the stalks. I'm leaving them in their long form for this process. Pro Home Cooks has a very informative video about fermenting any type of vegetable, which I referred to for this process. Basically, once you've figured out the weight of the vegetable and the weight of water it takes to cover that vegetable in your jar, multiply the sum of those numbers by 0.025 to calculate the amount of salt needed for fermentation. I'm just using pink salt here, a fermentation weight to keep the scapes beneath the water, and capping with a breathable top. Scapes that didn't fit into these 2 quarts to ferment were roasted with a bunch of other veggies for dinner, and they were a great addition, reminiscent of asparagus. Continuing with some more garden harvesting, we are pruning back our sweet mint in the lovely morning light. On a single stalk of mint, there are clearly leaves growing from the stalk, and as the plant matures, side shoots develop at the juncture of where these leaves meet the original stem. Hopefully you can see what I'm describing in this clip. When trimming back mint, cut right above a section where those small shoots are developing, and you'll have a bushier plant in the long run once those side shoots mature. I also use this pruning method to harvest lemon balm and basils. Everything you see here came from one plant last year. It's just unbelievable. Here is a more close-up look at how mint sends out side shoots from where a leaf meets the stem. To preserve all this mint, I'm bundling handfuls of stalks to hang dry. First, I'm gathering about 10 to 12 stalks to each bundle, lining them with the cut side up. Holding the plants between my thumb and forefinger, I'm kind of resting them between those fingers by the first set of leaves, almost like a hanger, which is where I'll tie off the bundles with some thread. Taking a piece of thread, I'm holding one end with my middle finger on the hand that is grasping the plants. Using my free hand, I'll wrap the other end of thread around the bundle twice and then tie it off. I originally thought a bow knot would work here to just hang the bundles, but it was not strong enough. It just pulled out the knot, as you'll see later in the video. So I just made another double knot a few inches away from the first one to create a smaller but stronger loop. I'm intending to use this mint for teas and salt bath mixes. When you grow your own food, you find some little friends and pests along the way. Here is a close-up of that altered knot that is holding much better. I love how this drying rack doubles as home decor with all the herbs on it. It's so pleasing to look at, and it smells great in here. We're ending this video with a few more small harvests from our growing garden, starting with this cabbage. This is my first ever successful cabbage head started from seed, which I was so worried about because it's been looking pretty eaten up. As I was peeling back these layers of leaves, I saw a little slug and dropped the cabbage like a hot potato. I got freaked out. Whenever I see something creepy crawly in the garden, I always have a moment of cringy freak out as my gut reaction. Here is a close-up of that little guy. And then I was worried there might be a pest infestation of some kind, so I just cut that cabbage right outside, and look at that beauty. I am just amazed. It's that wonder of growing something from seed to finish. Even though you know what to expect once your plant is fully grown, it's something else to have accomplished your goal. I preserved this cabbage as sauerkraut. If you watched my May garden tour video, you'll know I already have some peppers on my plants, so I'm plucking off 2 shishito peppers and a handful of immature Jimmy Nardello peppers, which I'll use as a green pepper in our salads and such. And then we have a quartet of radishes. I'd love to hear what your spring homemaking tasks are, so let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.